Witamy Państwa serdecznie na konferencji zorganizowanej przez Pearsona. Witają Państwa
Monika Henel-Celis
i Jan Witek. To już 25. rok, podczas którego witamy Państwa na kolejnych sesjach. Wspomagamy Państwa w codziennej pracy i nauce. Natomiast ten rok jest wyjątkowy, gdyż jest to nasz rok jubileuszu. Miło nam tutaj powitać Państwa w Opolu oraz przed ekranami monitorów, ponieważ ta sesja jest transmitowana na żywo. Wierzymy głęboko, że każda nauka jest jak podróż, wymaga określonego przygotowania, aby dotrzeć do określonego celu. Przez najbliższe minuty opowiemy Państwu, co Pearson przygotował w tej przygodzie z nauką.
No właśnie, nauka jest przygodą, życie jest podróżą, ale żeby dotrzeć do określonego celu, musimy mieć dobrze przygotowanego GPS-a. Myśmy przygotowali dla Państwa takiego edukacyjnego GPS-a, którymi są właśnie testy Progress Test, które bardzo precyzyjnie określą poziom naszych uczniów na początku nauki, zmierzą ich poziom w środku nauki i oczywiście podsumują, gdzie dotarliśmy. Są to w pełni zautomatyzowane, spersonalizowane testy, które możemy wykonać na platformie, dają Państwu niesamowitą przewagę nad innymi testami, ponieważ są w oparciu o Global Scale of English. Co to jest ta skala Global Scale of English? To jest 80-stopniowa skala, która bardzo precyzyjnie określi poziom naszych uczniów. Wszyscy posługujemy się naszą taką skalą popularną, cefrowską, która określa poziom naszych uczniów na 6 poziomach, natomiast Global Scale of English jeszcze dokładnie podzieli nam na 80 jednostek całą skalę Global Scale of English.
Wśród naszych nowości wydawniczych pojawiła się druga edycja Speak Outa. Jest to kurs, który cieszy się bardzo dużą popularnością, między innymi ze względu na materiały przygotowane w oparciu o BBC. Świadczy to niewątpliwie o wysokiej jakości tychże materiałów. W nowej edycji pojawiły się nowe nagrania, nowe teksty oraz nowe filmy, tak aby jeszcze bardziej zmotywować uczniów do nauki języka angielskiego.
Tak jak Janek powiedział, przygotowaliśmy mnóstwo dodatkowych materiałów. Na ekranie Państwo widzicie publikację Speak Out Extra. Ci z Państwa, którzy byli z nami na konferencjach jesienią, otrzymali Speak Out Extra Grama. Dzisiaj mogliśmy Państwu przekazać Speak Out Extra Vocabulary. Natomiast pozostałe materiały, które Państwo tutaj widzicie na ekranie, będą dostępne do pobrania ze strony internetowej bezpłatnie, także zachęcamy Państwa do skorzystania z tej możliwości.
Dla tych z Państwa, którzy pracują w środowisku biznesowym, przygotowaliśmy nową edycję naszego kursu Market Leader. Jest to edycja Extra na poziomie Elementary, Intermediate. Książki te zostały wyposażone w nowych 16 stron, zupełnie nowych ćwiczeń Business Skills. Przygotowaliśmy również tablice korelacyjne, tak aby Market Leader jeszcze bardziej efektywnie przygotował do egzaminu LCCI.
No właśnie, do egzaminu LCCI, ale i nie tylko, bo w tym roku przygotowaliśmy również publikacje w oparciu o Market Leadera, ale do egzaminów Back Vantage, Back High te publikacje będą również dostępne do pobrania ze strony internetowej. Wielu z Państwa, którzy uczycie uczniów języka biznesowego, często prosicie nas o dodatkowe materiały, które są autentyczne, dopasowane do poziomu, ale również aktualne. I my takie lekcje przygotowujemy, one są dostępne w naszym MyLabie, 12 lekcji w oparciu o Financial Times i każda osoba, która korzysta z laba i która ma dostęp do tego laba, może pobrać te materiały. Osoby, które nie mają takiego dostępu, bardzo prosimy o kontakt z nami, z przyjemnością przekażemy takie kody dostępu.
Dokładnie. Zachęcamy Państwa również do korzystania z naszych materiałów w naszej rewelacyjnej pomocy dla Państwa, czyli e-panelu. Jest to biblioteka cyfrowa, gdzie znajdują się wszystkie komponenty, łącznie z nagraniami. Mogą Państwo w dowolnym momencie pobrać taki program, poprosić o dostęp i zapoznać się z naszymi nowościami, tudzież korzystać z zestawów nauczycielskich.
Przez 25 lat jako wydawnictwo mamy w naszym portfolio mnóstwo produktów, ale również obok książek oferujemy Państwu egzaminy, oferujemy Państwu testy. Proszę pamiętać, że w naszym portfolio mamy takie egzaminy jak Pearson Test of English General, Pearson Test of English Young Learners, LCCI, mamy testy Versanta. Także nie są to tylko produkty książkowe, ale również różnego rodzaju materiały pozwalające dalej kształcić się uczniom, zdobywać kwalifikacje czy poznawać swój poziom.
Dla Państwa, którzy pracują w uczelniach wyższych, mamy przygotowane kursy specjalistyczne. Zachęcamy do zapoznania się z nimi m.in. w e-panelu. Mogą Państwo skorzystać również z doradztwa metodycznego. Są tam prowadzone na naszej stronie filmy, gdzie są webinaria, które są prowadzone przez wysokiej klasy specjalistów, autorów kursów. Zachęcamy gorąco. Oraz mogą Państwo skorzystać z testów oraz różnego rodzaju pomocy dydaktycznych. Jak również dla Państwa, którzy pracują w szkołach językowych, mamy taką pomoc. Mogą Państwo również się zgłosić do nas po egzemplarze okazowe. Przypominamy również, że już przy zakupie 8 kompletów danego tytułu, podręcznika i ćwiczeń, mogą Państwo uzyskać bezpłatny zestaw lektorski, jak również otrzymać rabat 50% na pozostałe komponenty. Zachęcamy również do korzystania z webinariów i szkoleń, o których informujemy w mailingu.
No właśnie, proszę Państwa, 25 lat, ćwierć wieku towarzyszymy Państwu, produkując materiały, będąc z Państwem, odwiedzając w szkołach, towarzysząc, patrząc, jak Państwa instytucje się rozwijają i staramy się cały czas odpowiadać na Państwa potrzeby, bo tak jak powiedziałam, to są książki, ale to są również egzaminy, również tworzymy elektroniczne biblioteki w postaci e-panelu, odpowiadamy na potrzeby rynku i tworzymy nowe materiały. Na przykład książki do języka niemieckiego. Także bardzo się cieszymy, że możemy nadal towarzyszyć Państwu. Mam nadzieję, że nasza podróż będzie trwała kolejne 25 lat. No, a teraz Państwa zapraszam już na sesję. Ladies and gentlemen, let's switch into English and to our first speaker, Daniel Brayshaw.
Welcome, Danny.
This microphone will be more suitable for male voice.
Dzień dobry. Hello, hello. Wonderful to see you all here today. Thank you very much for coming along on a Saturday. And also a warm welcome to those of you that may be viewing live online or indeed watching the recording of this session. People here in the room, as you heard, we are going out live across the country today, so please behave yourselves. No throwing things at me or shouting out insults, please. My name is Dan, and it's a pleasure to be here, not for the first time. In fact, I've been to Opolu to speak before in this very room, and I have very good memories of doing so. But you may not have met me before, so I suppose I should introduce myself before we get going. The session, by the way, today is titled Video Just for Watching, which I hope you'll realize is a rhetorical question, because, of course, the answer is... Okay, we got off to a good start. Excellent. Now, we're going to be looking at exactly what we can do with video, far beyond just watching, but we'll come back to that very soon. Are you good with accents? When you hear me speak, can you tell, well, I'm sure you can tell my nationality, right? Australian? Clearly not. So it's England. What do you think, north or south? South? North. But, you know, that wasn't a silly answer, because after 15 years in the language teaching business, many of them in the classroom, my northern accent has virtually gone, I think. It's sort of flattened out now, so much so that when I go back to England, you know, my sister looks at me very strangely when I start speaking. Why are you speaking like that? From 15 years of being in the language teaching business, and during that time I've done all sorts of things, from teaching the very little ones to teaching the bigger ones, various management positions. I've worked as an examiner, a CELTA trainer, a teacher trainer, and also an author. It's been a very busy time, as you can imagine, but there's been time for my interests and my hobbies. But rather than tell you about them, what I want to do, in fact, is demonstrate a quick activity that you can use in class, which is particularly good with new groups of students. Now, for this activity, you will need someone to talk to. So I'm going to ask you, first of all, to have a good look at the person or people you're sitting with. Do they look friendly? Definitely friendly at the front here. Friendly at the back? Yes, good. If you're sitting next to someone unfriendly, there are some empty seats here if you want to move. Good. How about just introduce yourself? Make sure you know each other's names. Say hello. Wonderful, wonderful, very good. All right, so here's the activity. As I say, it's a very good one with new groups of students. It's kind of one of those icebreaker things, and it's called What's the Connection? By way of demonstration, we'll start with a photograph. What's the connection to me is the question, of course. Who do you think that could be? Look closely. A girl is a very tactful answer there, yes. Who exactly? What do you reckon? Sister, thank you. Yes, it is. This is my sister, Abby. Not, as one lady shouted out a few weeks ago, daughter. I was mortified, as you can imagine. She's only 3 years younger than me, in fact. That's what happens after so long in the language classroom, right? The wrinkles begin to appear. This is Abby, the mother of my two lovely nieces, who I think we'll hear a little bit more about later on. Well done, okay. But that's not really the activity, because I'd like you to look at the information on the left and try to work out in what way it might be connected to me. So, for example, you've got 39 there. Any suggestions what that could be? You are my new best friend. Thank you very much. Sadly, no, it's not my age. A little bit older than that. So, not my age. Well, to help you, look, here are some images, some clues that match. So, have a look at the information on the left. How could it be connected to me? About a minute with your friendly partner, please. Off you go. Okay. Sorry if you haven't quite finished, but we have a lot to pack in today. So sadly, 39 is not my age anymore, but what do you think it could be? Shoe size? Number of countries I've visited. Well done. Yes, it is indeed the number of countries I've visited. Lucky me, right? One of the perks of the job. I get to travel a lot doing this job. So 39 and counting. Wonderful. 7 kilometers. Every morning running at 6 a.m. No. But no, you were right, it's running. But, you know, after a good night's sleep and a hearty breakfast, this is about my maximum. This is about as far as I run. I try to do it twice a week or something, but often fail. I'm out of action with a dodgy hip at the moment, I have to say. What happened in 1975? I'm even older than that, I'm afraid. So, you know, I didn't come. No. Oh, and then my Polish would be fluent, right? Instead of a struggling sort of pre-intermediate. But no, in 1975, I spoke for the first time. I said my first words in 1975. I actually don't know what they were. I keep meaning to ask my mum what my first words were, but I don't know. Possibly Pearson, something like that. Yes, very good. I was actually born 2 years before that, so if you really want to work out how old I am, you can do the mathematics yourself. Snow. I love winter sports. Well done, you got it. Snowboarding particularly. I'm always sad to see the end of the winter. Most people go, huh? When I say that. Asian what? Is my favorite cuisine. That's right, yes. I was lucky enough to live and work in Asia, Thailand specifically, for 6 years, during which time I fell in love with Thai cuisine and basically all other Asian cuisine. 2001, what happened then? Came to Poland? No, came to Poland in 2007. Started teaching, qualified as a teacher for the first time in 2001. So yeah, 15 years on the road it's been. French and German. Yeah, these are the languages that I ought to speak, in fact. These are the languages that I did at school, but I will admit that I've largely forgotten both of them. Partly because Polish is so difficult to learn, and it's taken up all my language power just to learn as much Polish as I have done. Very good. Okay, hopefully you can see that this is a nice activity in terms of breaking the ice, and I'm sure you can actually see what the next obvious stage is, and that is for the students to do something very similar. Write a list of facts and figures connected to themselves, and then in groups they can do what we've just done. So really nice with new groups, and sneaked in there, of course, there's all sorts of tense practice, different question forms, and it's very good for your class dynamic. Not the kind of thing we used to do in my German lessons at school. I didn't do very well in German at school, I have to say. My teacher was Mrs. Harris. I think she was about 103 years old, bless her, Mrs. Harris. And her favourite style was chalk and talk. You've heard of this teaching style, chalk and talk. Basically, write some language on the board, or well, it was the blackboard in those days, and talk about it for a while. So she used to do, things like this. She'd write up the passive, an active sentence and a passive sentence. Ich habe mein Abendessen gegessen. How's your German? Magically transformed into the passive, and we get my dinner was eaten by me. When was the last time you needed to say, my dinner was eaten by me? It's not exactly the most practical language, is it? It's not authentic language, and it's certainly not very useful, but it demonstrates the way the passive is formed. She would also write up such sentences as this, to show how exciting it is when sometimes the German verb moves to the end of the sentence, so a little bit of translation. Hans is wet because he's standing under a waterfall. Why is Hans standing under a waterfall? Is this common practice in Germany? It's a ridiculous context, isn't it? Far from saving water, yes, possibly. His shower has broken. It's a very unlikely context, isn't it? And I think we can probably do a lot better than that. As you can see, Angela is less than impressed. And of course, the likely reaction from students to this kind of approach to teaching is something along these lines, I would say. Cute, right? Apparently this happens a lot in China. They take a break in the middle of the day and the kids sleep on the desk for half an hour. We can do better. And one of the key ways that we can improve on Mrs. Harris's approach is to bring as much authenticity as possible into the classroom. And a key tool to do this, of course, is video. And that's what the session is all about today. Let's have a quick look at the menu. This is what we'll be tackling in the next 45 minutes or so. I want to start with a little bit more of a precise definition of authenticity. What do we mean in terms of the ELT environment when we talk about authenticity, and how can we achieve this in the classroom? Video is one of my answers to that question, and I want to go on to look at how we can use video for a variety of things, including developing language and skills, including modeling speaking activities and providing lead-ins that generate interest in extended speaking activities, and a way to provide exposure to real English and a wide range of both native and non-native speaker accents in our classroom. So that's what we've got in mind for the next 45 minutes or so. Okay, let's start with a definition. If you look in the Longman Dictionary, one of the few things that still carries the old name Longman, remember that, the Longman Dictionary, you'll see it's the quality of being real or true. Okay, that doesn't help us so much in the language classroom. We need to go into a little bit more depth. When we talk about authenticity in language learning, we're talking about providing the kind of contexts that we come across in daily life, the things we enjoy talking about, reading about in daily life, not Hans standing under a waterfall, right? Something a little bit more realistic than that. Authentic materials, drawing on the things that we watch, read, and listen to in everyday life. And authentic language, by which I mean the sort of language you might hear if you stopped someone on the streets of London, for example, and asked them a question. Real language. And finally, authentic communication, by which I mean communication that has a real purpose, gives someone a real reason to listen and pick up a real message. That, of course, is what we mean by authenticity in the classroom. Let's move on to talk about using video to provide that authenticity. And first of all, I want to look at how we can do that and at the same time develop both language and skills with our adult students. I mentioned, didn't I, earlier on that I loved Asian cuisine. I try to recreate this sometimes in my Polish kitchen with mixed results, I have to say. But I do like cooking, and I like watching cooking shows as well. I rarely actually cook any of the things that I see on the shows, but it's entertainment, isn't it? Do you watch cooking shows? Some of you, I guess? Okay. Top Chef, okay. Perhaps then you'll be quite good at my next challenge for you. I'm going to show you 4 well-known British TV chefs. Can you, with that friendly person from earlier, can you name them? Do you know who these people are? I'll give you 20 seconds. Okay, lovely. So, top left-hand corner. It's Nigella, that's right. Yes, where's she gone? Nigella Lawson, the lovely Nigella Lawson. Welcome in my kitchen anytime, I have to say. And on the right of Nigella, we've got Jamie, yes, possibly going to be the Prime Minister of England one day, Jamie Oliver, if he keeps going like he is doing. Bottom left, Gordon Ramsay, that's right. Possibly more famous for what comes out of his mouth than what goes into it. Gordon Ramsay. Do you know who the guy in the bottom right-hand corner is? Well done. Yes, I recognise from your accent that you would perhaps be the only person in the room that would know Ainsley. He's very well known in the UK, but not really outside of the UK. And he's well known for a couple of good reasons, really. First of all, he's extremely eccentric. He's a real character. And secondly, he loves cooking outdoors, and he makes TV shows where he travels the world and cooks outdoors. Now, we're going to watch Ainsley in action in just a moment. Here's a little bit of information about him. He's in Greece. He's in an island in Greece, and he's going to cook stuffed squid. So we're going to be watching him cooking. We need a task to do whilst we watch. Have you got pen and paper? Can you just dig out pen and paper very quickly, please? Okay, and I'm going to dictate a few words to you. I'm a fan of dictation in the classroom. This is just straight, simple, old dictation. Can you write down the following, please? Onion. Garlic. Chili. Mint. Rice. And pepper. Pepper. Pepper, yes. Jolly good. I assume that you had no problem with that task and that you've got them written down. Did you spell chili correctly? It is a bone of contention. No one can quite agree what the right spelling for chili is. Good. So you've got those there. I wanted you to have them on paper because whilst you watch, what I'd like you to do is watch out for the one ingredient that Ainsley doesn't use. So which one on the list doesn't Ainsley use for his stuffed squid? All right, here we go.
Ainsley Harriott, the famous British chef, travels all over the world to find new dishes and to cook them outside on a barbecue. This week he travels to the beautiful Greek island of Alonissos to find out about the local cuisine. Ainsley meets people from across the island who show him how to cook some traditional seafood on a barbecue. Today, Ainsley's cooking barbecued squid stuffed with rice and spinach.
These waters really are full of beautiful seafood, just like this squid. Now I'm going to do your beautiful char-grilled squid stuffed with rice, mint and spinach. Drizzle some oil inside. That's it. Chopped onion, sprinkle that in. And of course 1 clove of garlic. Perfect. I've got about 3 ounces of cooked rice. Okay, bit of lemon juice. Lovely. I've also got here some nice fresh mint. That in, some pepper, then we stuff our squid. That's lovely. That's beautiful. Once again, touch of pepper, a little bit more salt, a little bit more oil, on to your barbie. Perfect. And remember, you don't need to cook this too long, 5 or 6 minutes. Doesn't that look beautiful? And it tastes good too.
I bet. I apologise if you were hungry. Sorry about that. Jolly good. So a quick lean over to your neighbour. Got the same ingredient that wasn't used? I'm sure you have. It was, of course, chili. Yes, that's right. Well done. So that demonstrates one of the basics, of course. I don't want to teach my grandmother to suck eggs, as you probably know that idiom. But one of the basics of using video in class, there must always be a task. We can watch for pleasure at home, in the same way that you would never just listen for pleasure in class. There should always be a task. Very good. It is, of course, very important if you're going to use a video like that in class, particularly if you're going to use it with low levels, that there's a lot of support for the students. This is one of the challenges of using authentic materials in class. The teacher needs to think about the previewing work, so what language do I need to feed in? What tasks will the students do while they're viewing, and how will I follow up to this? Which is an awful lot of work for a busy teacher, isn't it? You'll be pleased to know that when it comes to Speak Out, that work has been done for you. The video we've just watched comes from the new edition, the second edition of Speak Out, and as I said, all the preparation work when it comes to video has been done for you. Ainsley appears at elementary level, but with careful scaffolding we can make that authentic material accessible to elementary level students. Speak Out is written in cahoots with the BBC, which allows Pearson to draw on, as you can imagine, the huge bank of video that the BBC has. So it's full of authentic videos from things like natural history documentaries right through to sports, entertainment, even some comedy in there, a real breadth of video content. And as I said, the time required for preparation has been dramatically shortened. Let me explain how that happens and how we can introduce, because remember we're talking about developing speaking, we're talking about developing language and skills, aren't we, through the use of video. So how do we do that with the Ainsley lesson? Well, here's the lesson. As you can see, it looks beautiful. We need to think, of course, about what the students do before they watch. And at elementary level, they need the language, the key language, before they watch. This is also our target language for the lesson. And as you might expect, it's food items and utensils required for cooking. So the students do some work with this language, as well as different ways of cooking, nicely visualized. And the first time they watch the DVD, they're checking the work they did on our target language. So we are actually using video to develop language. That's previewing. Secondly, whilst the students are viewing, they need suitable tasks, graded, in this case, to elementary level. And of course, grading of tasks is the key way that you make these authentic materials accessible to low levels. In this case, it's true, false, and you'll notice that our target language is recycled again in this rather more gisty task. And the second task is a watching for detail task, but again, it focuses in on language rather than broader comprehension. So we're developing listening skills at the same time as exposing our students to the target language for the lesson. Post-viewing, we can move into the development of other skills, speaking, for example, again using our target language. In this case, the students choose a favorite dish and explain it to someone else. Note that your partner, whilst listening, has to listen carefully and decide which dish they would like to try. Communication with a genuine purpose, a reason to listen. We talked about how important that is. Even the writing skill is not neglected in this lesson. There's a chance to write an email using some of the vocabulary we began with, and also introducing linkers, in this case linkers for ordering events. So developing a writing sub-skill as well. And if you think back, we've got a bank of target vocabulary. We've worked on listening, speaking, and writing skills in just one lesson. So a nice demonstration of how a lesson can be used to develop language and skills. Speaking of developing language, time for a pause for a moment for a quick sort of fun activity. At the lower 3 levels, Speak Out, new edition, has a photo bank in the back, which is very useful. And I want to show you something you can do with that photo bank, which is a bit of fun in the classroom. I hope you had a big breakfast and plenty of coffee. No, oh dear, because I'm going to be challenging your memory right now. I'm going to show you 24 pictures taken from a photo bank, and I'm going to ask you to try to memorize them. Okay? The golden rule at this stage is no writing, please. As you know, you're on film today, and we will be following you after the session if you're caught cheating. So no writing. I'll show you 24 food items. See how many of them you can remember, but do have pen and paper ready for after the 30 seconds that I'm going to give you. Here we go. Memories engage. How many of them can you remember? write down as many as you can remember. Okay, I can see that some of you have already begun the next stage of this activity, which is, if you just look at me for a second, is this. Have a look with the person next to you. Together, can you get most of them? 24 there were. Okay, ladies and gents, I'm not being very generous with the time I'm giving you, I'm sorry, but as usual it's in short supply. Have a look. Which ones might you have missed? Have a quick look. Excellent. Very good. Now, of course, in class, you'll have a bit more time and you'll almost certainly make a bit more of the competitive element of this activity. There are other ways to extend it by asking students to think of collocations, so verbs to go with each piece of food. Pick an apple, peel a banana, dunk a biscuit. Do you know it? To dunk your biscuit? Dip it in your tea or coffee, right, to make it soft. Particularly good if you have false teeth. I'm sure that applies to no one here, though. That's one way to extend it. I'm a big fan of these activities that get students memorizing language in class. Nice thing to do with the photo bank at the back of Speak Out. Good. All right, let's move on, because for the development of language and skills is not the only thing that you can do with video in class, of course. It can be used to raise interest and model extended speaking activities, and that's what we'll have a look at in this next section. I was in London yesterday morning, believe it or not. I've just been to 2 days in London. I haven't been for years and years and years, and it was fantastic. But if I had 24 hours in the city of my choice, it wouldn't be London. It would be Vancouver. Because in Vancouver, you can snowboard in the morning, stop for lunch, come down the mountain and lie on the beach in the afternoon. Heaven on earth, if you ask me. I wonder what your chosen city would be. If you could go anywhere for 24 hours, where would you go? Brzeg? Maybe it would be this place. Watch carefully. First person to shout it out is clearly the most intelligent in the room. Well done. It is, of course, Rio de Janeiro, Sugarloaf Mountain. You can see there in the background. Anybody been to Rio? Wow, fantastic, wonderful. I would like to hear all about that trip. We're actually going to use Rio as our context for this next session. We're talking about developing, modeling extended speaking activities. So what I want to show you is what we're working towards. This is the final activity in this video lesson. As you can see, the students are going to plan 24 hours in a city of their choice. This appears at pre-intermediate level, so you can see it's very well scaffolded. The preparation comes in these 6 questions, but also, of course, in everything that happens before that. So we're building towards this task. Let's have a look how we go about doing that. Of course, first we need to raise interest, and we're going to use video to do that. But first, we need to get the students thinking about the topic that they're going to be watching on the video. So, discussion, questions, and as you can see in number 2, focusing down on Rio. What do you know about Rio? So they're thinking about the context, they're thinking about the language they might hear in the video. Wonderful. The video itself is taken from a series called Going Local, where presenters are challenged to do certain things in cities overseas that they don't know, and they have to ask the locals for help in order to complete these challenges. So that's the context for the video. How are we doing for time? All right, we're just going to skip forward slightly past that. Ignore that slide for a moment. I do, however, need to ask you to write down a few things again. Have you got pen and paper handy, please? If you can scribble down the following. First of all, find somewhere good to eat. Find somewhere good to eat. I'm going to give you a list of activities. The second one is use public transport. Next is eat exotic fruit. We've got 3 more. The next one is play a game with the locals. Next, dance samba. And finally, play music. Find somewhere good to eat, use public transport, eat exotic fruit, play a game with the locals, dance samba, and play music. As we watch the presenter attempting to do some of these things in Rio, what I'd like you to do is tick the 4 things that he does. He will do 4 out of your list of 6. That's your task while you watch. Here we go. Oh no, not quite. Here we go.
Welcome to Rio, home of sunshine, samba, and the Sugarloaf Mountain. But that stuff is for tourists. I want to find out what cariocas get up to when nobody's looking. My editor is sending me a series of challenges by SMS. To get by, I will ditch the guidebook and ask their locals for their help instead. Find the public transport with the best views. The public transport with the best views of the city.
Bondinho, o teleférico ali, ó.
I mean, they're talking about a cable car, so that is very cheap and the views are amazing.
It's a new cable car here. You can view all the favelas here, the slums.
I think you're gonna really like the views. You're gonna see the problems of poverty in Brazil, but I'm sure you're gonna like this view.
1, 2, 1 for you and 1 for me. Woo! Oh my God! Wow! There is like a sea of houses. The city center. This is the core of Rio de Janeiro. So we're looking for exotic fruits.
It's difficult to find, really exotic fruits. Maybe in the Amazon.
I'm afraid we're gonna have to go all the way to the Amazon to find exotic stuff.
Right over there.
Right over there?
Yeah, polisucos.
And what is that?
They have all kinds of juices with all different flavors.
Cosa é hoje?
Açaí.
Açaí. This is the famous açaí. Somebody else mentioned that. This is the place. This is the place we're looking for.
Fruta de conde.
Very nice. It's very sweet.
That's the cashew nut. Everybody knows the cashew nut.
I know. Yeah, amazing. So, but it's difficult to chew. It's difficult to get a good bite. Now, this is what I call exotic fruit. Very nice, very rich flavor. I mean, it's something between strawberry and chocolate. Beat a local at their own game.
So I don't know very well the places.
Where can I find a good place for me to, to practice sports with the cariocas?
Okay, the beach, frisbee, frescobol.
Surfing, but I like it. Frescobol. I got a message, make music with the locals.
The other side have a group to play samba. Listen.
An Irish pub in Rio de Janeiro, are we going to go, are you serious?
Trapiche Gamboa.
Trapiche Gamboa.
Today we have Galote and Grupo Centelha. Play!
Yes, this is the place. Wow, look at the Sunday. People dancing and everybody singing. I really want to join this guy.
Doesn't it look like fun? A fantastic place. So lean over again. Have you chosen the same 4 activities? I'm sure you have. Yes? Success. Wonderful. Okay. This is, of course, a very similar task to the one that we ask the students to do in class. What we've done is raised their interest in the context of our lesson and fed in all sorts of activities that they might think about in their own version of the final task. Now, they need some more help before they can go on to plan 24 hours in a city. So how does that happen? Well, first of all, they'll be listening. So it's not a video in this case. They're listening to someone doing exactly that task next. So we've used the video to raise interest, feed in some ideas. Now they'll listen to someone talking about 24 hours in the city of their choice. And as they listen, we'll pull out key phrases that they'll need to use it when they complete the task at the end. So a focus on useful language. As we saw earlier on, we're finishing this lesson. Oh, it's gone. We're finishing this lesson with the task, which is well scaffolded. So together with the raising of interest, the key phrases, and the scaffolding, the questions at the end, the students are now ready to perform the extended speaking activity. Well thought through. Well thought through. And of course it looks beautiful, doesn't it? I don't know if I'll be going to Rio for my next holiday, but it's moved up the list, let's say. Good. All right. Our time is short, so we'll move to the next section. One more way to use video in class is to expose students to authentic language. And as well as the videos that come from the BBC in Speak Out, there's also a whole strain that runs through the book where people go into London, stop people in the street and ask them questions and interview people in the street. And we get exposed to some real authentic English. These are not scripted, they are not rehearsed, they're live, stop, can I ask you a question type videos. One of the key pieces of feedback that we had between the old and the new edition of Speak Out was that teachers wanted more exposure to both native and non-native speaker accents. Right at the beginning I asked you how good you were with accents, and now that's coming back again because we're going to watch one of these, or part of one of these interview videos. And there's a whole range of different accents. You'll hear like 5 or 6 different accents, some of them native to the UK, some of them from the other side of the world. How many can you spot? How many accents can you hear? It's not an easy task, I realize, and I should point out, it's not a task I would give to my students. It's a task for you here today. So how many different accents can you hear in the following video?
I've spent a lot of time living in different countries, so there isn't one place I think of as home. I've lived in Scotland and Poland and China. I love going to new places and learning about new cultures. Today, I'm asking people about travel.
I love travel. It's one of my passions.
Well, I enjoy it a lot. I have travelled to India several times. I lived there. And I've lived here, and I've been to Istanbul once, and I enjoyed that very much as well.
I've done quite a bit of travelling as well, holidays and stuff. I think it's good experience.
You get to meet different people coming from different backgrounds. I think that's really important to get an understanding.
It's always just nice to get out and experience a different culture and different lifestyle.
I get very excited about the thought of going to most countries, any country.
I love to travel to different countries.
Absolutely love travelling. I've been travelling for about 2.5 years solid now.
I've been to Turkey, I've been to Egypt, I've been to Malta.
Now I work as an expedition leader, and so I actually operate in different countries around the world, many places outside the United Kingdom.
One more time, lean over to the person next to you. How many different accents did you spot between you? Hopefully some or all of the following. A couple of the younger guys were Australian. There was the lady with yellow hair. Remember? She was American. She had an American accent. And the first person we heard was an Irish lady. So lots of exposure to native and non-native speaker accents. And real language. As you could see, these were just people talking on the street, unrehearsed. So, wonderful. We're not quite finished, but we're almost there. Let's have a quick summary of what we've said. We started by saying that video is one of the easiest ways for us to bring authenticity into our classrooms, and we can use it for a variety of things. The development of language and skills, as a model and to raise interest in extended speaking activities, and as a way to bring the outside world into the classroom and provide exposure to authentic language. All of these things are eminently possible with the new edition of Speak Out. Now, before I say goodbye, I do want to finish with just one final video, and we're going to break all the rules because we're going to watch this one purely for pleasure. It's actually taken from the elementary version of Speak Out. If you know the first edition, you'll recognize it because it was so good that it was kept for the second edition. You probably know the series it comes from, set in the south of England in the 1970s and 80s, about a couple that own a hotel called Fawlty Towers. And they have a waiter who works for them, you may know, Manuel, from Barcelona. And this is Manuel talking about how he learned English. And of course, this happened before there were any videos to draw on. So for pure pleasure, enjoy Manuel, who learned his English from a book.
How are you, sir? You see, I speak English well. I learn it from a book. Hello, I am English. Hello. How are you, sir? I can speak English. Hello, Major. How are you today? I'm fine, thank you. It's a beautiful day today. Is it? Oh, yes, I suppose it is. Yes, I can speak English. I learned it from a book. Did you? Did you really? Oh, there you are, Forty.
Yes, I'm just going to open up, Major.
Oh, fine. I say that's a remarkable animal you have there, Forty. Where did you get it?
Samson's in the town.
Really? Well, was it expensive?
£12, I think.
Good. Oh. Japanese, was it?
Canadian, I think, Major.
Oh dear, good. It never gets old. I could watch it all day long. Wonderful. So, thank you. It's been a pleasure again, just as it was last time I came to Opolu. Enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye to everyone who's online, and have a lovely weekend. Thank you very much.